Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a seemingly simple story and totally peeling back the layers. We are doing a strategic deconstruction of a classic fable, The Monkey and the Crocodile. Now, you might think you know this one from your childhood, but these ancient stories survived for centuries for a reason. They're actually masterclasses in human, animal psychology. When we look at this tale closely through the lens of strategy, survival, and crisis management, it takes on a completely new and honestly fascinating dimension. So get ready, because we're going to break down exactly how quick thinking can completely overcome brute force.
Just picture this scenario for a second. Really put yourself in it. How do you escape an apex predator when you are trapped mid-river? You are completely out of your element, you're physically outmatched, and the nearest safe ground is literally hundreds of feet away. It's the ultimate high-stakes situation. It's a life-or-death puzzle where one wrong move means the absolute end. But to understand how our protagonist actually survives this terrifying trap, we've got to rewind a bit and look at exactly how he got there in the first place.
Okay, let's dive right into this with Section 1, the unlikely friendship. Or, as we should probably call it from an analytical perspective, a strategic alliance.
So our setting is a mighty river cutting right through the middle of a dense, pretty unforgiving forest. And here we find an old crocodile. He's lived a really long life, but he's grown weak. He's tired. He's just completely failing to catch fish. His usual food source is literally slipping right out of his grasp. He is starving, depressed, and desperately needs calories. Let's walk through the timeline of how this dynamic suddenly shifts. On day 1, the crocodile fails his hunt. He's exhausted, right? So he rests under a tree by the riverbank. On day 2, a monkey sitting way up in that tree notices him. Now, rather than ignoring the predator, the monkey actively shares his food. He tosses down some incredibly sweet berries. By day 3 and beyond, this evolves into a really close friendship. This is just a brilliant transaction of mutual benefit. The crocodile gets those essential calories without having to expend any energy, and in return, the monkey gets an apex predator as a bodyguard and a personal armored boat to safely ride around the river. It's a highly unusual but really joyful alliance.
But of course, every good strategy faces some kind of external disruption. That brings us to Section 2, a wife's deadly demand, our inciting incident.
Riding high on his new friendship and finally having a full belly, the crocodile decides to bring some of these delicious berries home to his wife, who lives over on the other side of the river. He just wants to share his good fortune, but things escalate very, very quickly from here. Instead of gratitude, the wife makes this incredible, dangerous leap of logic. She deduces, scratch that, deduction implies logic, she just decides that if the berries are so delicious, imagine how sweet the monkey's heart could be. It is an almost absurd conclusion. She completely bypasses the immense strategic value of a renewable food source, the berries being delivered daily, and immediately fixates on a one-time, deadly extraction. In one single sentence, she turns a thoughtful gift from her husband into an absolute death sentence for his benefactor. And this brilliantly illustrates the crocodile's agonizing dilemma. We have a massive clash of obligations going on. On one side, we have the starving friend. The monkey fed the crocodile when he was at his absolute lowest, literally saving him from starvation. That is a bond built on genuine mutual survival. On the other side, we have the demanding wife, and she doesn't just casually ask for a favor here, she escalates right to extreme emotional blackmail, screaming that she will harm herself or fall seriously ill if she doesn't get this monkey's heart. The crocodile is entirely paralyzed. He's trapped between profound loyalty to his savior and the intense emotional manipulation of his partner. It is a classic, brutal conflict between logic and emotion.
Well, the crocodile yields to the pressure, leading us right into Section 3, the mid-river confession, where the trap is officially set.
So, the crocodile returns to the monkey and just spins a web of deception. He invites the monkey over to his home for a feast, promising that his wife is baking fresh banana bread and whipping up delicious cookies just for him. Lured by the promise of an amazing meal and, of course, fully trusting his friend, the monkey cheerfully hops onto the crocodile's back and they swim out into the deep water. But as they reach the very middle of the river, the guilt just becomes too heavy for the crocodile to bear. The tension peaks and he drops this devastating bombshell: "My wife wants to eat your heart." This right here, this is the crocodile's fatal strategic error. He held all the cards. The monkey was trapped with nowhere to go. But his guilty conscience overrides his tactical sense, and he confesses the awful truth before the monkey is actually delivered.
Which brings us to Section 4, the clever counterbluff. This is an absolute masterclass in crisis management.
Let me ask you directly, what would you do if you were in the monkey's shoes right now? You're floating on the back of an armored predator in deep, rushing water, and he has just calmly announced his plot to murder you. Most people would panic. Most people would freeze or try to jump and swim, which would be instant death. But the monkey? Let's deconstruct his quick-witted survival strategy, because it happens incredibly fast. Step 1. Suppress panic immediately. He shows zero fear, completely masking his internal alarm. Step 2. Validate the crocodile's problem. He warmly says, "Oh, I see. No problem, my friend," instantly disarming the predator's aggression. Step 3. Invent a logical impossibility, but say it with total confidence. He tells the crocodile, "My heart is in the tree. We monkeys keep our hearts safely in the branches." And finally, Step 4. Demand to return. He creates an urgent, operational need to go back for the very prize the crocodile wants, essentially reframing a retreat as an advancement.
But the absolute genius is how the monkey sells the bluff. He says, "If we show up without it, my wife might get very angry and eat my heart." The monkey quickly analyzed that the crocodile is acting strictly out of fear of his wife's anger. So the monkey bluffs by short-circuiting the crocodile's brain, perfectly mirroring that exact same domestic fear. He aligns their incentives. And you know what? It works flawlessly. The crocodile, overwhelmed and absolutely terrified of showing up empty-handed to his demanding wife, immediately turns around to go back to the tree, without even second-guessing the basic biology of the situation.
And that swift turnaround leads us to our final act. Section 5, the cost of betrayal and the ensuing fallout.
The resolution here is blindingly rapid. The very moment the crocodile's snout touches the safety of the riverbank, the monkey doesn't hesitate for a microsecond. He leaps off the predator's back and swiftly climbs up to the highest, safest branch of his tree. The immediate crisis is over, but the fallout from this betrayal has really just begun. From the safety of the branches, the monkey delivers his final triumphant rebuke. He calls out the crocodile's foolishness, exposing the true definition of foolishness, believing someone can live without their heart. The monkey exposes not just the crocodile's total biological ignorance, but his utter selfishness. He looks down at his former friend and reminds him, "I helped you, I shared my food, and this is how you repay me?"
So the crucial point we need to look at is what the foolish crocodile actually lost in this exchange. And honestly, it is catastrophic. Because of his impulsive actions and his complete inability to manage his wife's demands, he lost a true friend who genuinely cared for his well-being. He lost his daily supply of sweet berries that saved him from starvation in the first place. That's a permanent loss of a renewable resource. And ironically, he ultimately lost his wife's dinner anyway. It's a stark, devastating list of consequences that proves a very timeless moral. Never trick those who help you. Because when you betray trust, you destroy your own lifelines and sabotage your own future.
Which brings us to our final thought. It's a lingering, provocative question I want to leave you with as we wrap up this explainer. The monkey saved his own life with a brilliant, calculated lie. But the crocodile lost absolutely everything by deciding to tell the truth mid-river. When you look at it through the complex realities of trust, strategy, and high-stakes survival, which one was the real fool? Think about that the next time you find yourself navigating a difficult alliance. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep questioning the strategies happening all around you.